Hello friends. I think today I'm going to try and replicate this wooden toolbox that a close friend of mine made for my children several years ago, almost 10. I have two sons, and he made them each one of these toolboxes. He's a master woodworker, I'm not, but this doesn't look that difficult. Alright, we have our pieces cut out. We've got the floor, the side bits, and the ends will fit together like this to make a simple child's toolbox. Now, I've got the sideboard. I'm going to use a 1/4 inch round over bit in my trim router and go down the front side of the left piece, and then I'm going to do so with the right piece as well. I like a trim router on these small jobs. When I router out someone's name or do an art project, I'll use a full-size router. But for this is fine. The front or the left and side boards are now rounded over. Like so. You want to sand real well because you don't want a child getting splinters. So as soon as these are complete and I'm ready to stain, I will run it across my belt sander just to make sure that nobody gets splinters. You don't want that. Alright, now that we're back, we have successfully cut out our pieces, routered out, round over size, drilled holes in the end pieces for the dowel rod that will be the handle. It's time to stain. I'm just using a light oak from Minwax. And you can put it on pretty much any way you want. A brush or a foam, piece of foam. I like these rags. They're not expensive, and they're terribly useful. So I'm going to go over each piece. We're going to do one side and let it dry. Then do another side tomorrow. A lot of people don't either varnish, stain, or paint the underside of the floor plate. I do. When this dries tomorrow, it says it dries in a couple hours. I like to give it a day. When this dries tomorrow, I will stain the other side, and in 2 days, we'll put it together. Be good. Alright, it is a gloomy, rainy day here. It's now time to router a name on this toolbox we're making. I'm making this for my grandnephew. His name is William. So I'm going to router out William's tools right on the side of his toolbox. Now, there's lots of different ways to do that. I like to use painter's tape as a base. That way, when you take it off, you don't take off any of the varnish, the stain, the paint, or whatever it is you've put on your board. I'm going to go ahead and tape the whole board We've got limited space on here. It's kind of tricky because once you clamp down the wood, which you need to have it stable, there's no room for the router. So I've put small clamps on either side of this board. And that should be that. I've used spray adhesive in the past and it works really well. However, I don't want any residual adhesive sprayed on the wood that I'm not going to use. So I'm choosing to use this Elmer's washable school glue. Works superbly well. And you want to be pretty liberal with the application of the glue. It's inexpensive and you can use as much of it as you need. I'm going to try and place this right in the middle where I want it to be. We're going to go ahead and do the bottom one as well. And there's that. Next, you want to cover this with packing tape. That way you don't have paper shreds ripping up all over the place. And when you're done, you simply peel off the packing tape. I've got a little bit left here. Let's see how much I can utilize before I have to break into a new roll. You want to make sure it's affixed really well because you don't want that coming up while you're routering. I honestly didn't think I was going to have enough of this smaller roll to cover it. Just want to make sure it's affixed really well. Any places where you see it needs to be put down, you can. Alrighty. About time to fish or cut bait. Now I use a full-size router for stuff like this because You get a double handle to hold on to it and you control it better. Also, I like the window because you can see where the bit is. Now you got to be real careful because it's terribly easy to cut too deep. And this is only a 1-inch thick board, not even that. About 7/8 inch thick. They say 1 inch, but it's not. So you might want to, on a test board, see how deep the cut is. If it's too shallow, you can always go back and do it over. That's not a problem. If it's too deep, you're done. You got to have it start over and use a new board. I have done that, and I think this is the proper depth. So, without further hesitation, let's go ahead and get to routering. Alright, if you noticed, I took the clamp off this one end because I didn't quite have enough. I couldn't move the router out of the way of the clamp. With any luck, this tape generally comes off easier than it is this time, but that's the way it is. Life is messy. You're not going to get perfection, but that's what makes it handmade. Important thing is to do the very best you can. With the routering done, I like to take some air and just clean it out. There you have it. I have sanded the inside of these letters, cleaned up the burn marks, and I think it looks pretty good. Now it's time to finally start putting this little booger together. Now, I'm going to use both wood glue and brads, and that might be overkill, but hopefully this is something that a little boy will play with, which means it'll get banged around, dropped, hit, whatever, kicked across the floor. I don't want it coming apart. So, I'm going to use some wood glue and then I'll follow that up with some brad nails. It's not important to slather the glue on, because like I said, we're going to use brad nails as well. That side is flush. And so I'm going to clamp it right in the center. You just feel it because you want it to be flush, or as flush as you can get it. I like to put one about every 2 inches. It's time to take the clamps off and see what kind of damage we've done. You can use too few clamps, but I don't think you can use too many. Okay, we are finally done. I have completed the toolbox. And here it is. I've got his name, Williams, on there. Williams Tools. I've got it all flush, stained. The dowel rod is stained, glued. It's a fully functioning toolbox for a little boy. I also made one for his brother. So, I will take these to my sister tomorrow and she can gift them to her grandchildren. And I'm not done yet. My wife was so pleased with the way these came out. She asked me to make one for a coworker's son. This is not misspelled. So, fairly pleased. They all come out rather uniform, rather well. Took about 2 days to make this one. And I've been doing this about 1.5 years, not quite 2 years. And they're not perfect. You don't have to look too far to see mistakes. But all in all, I'm fairly proud of them. So now you know how to make one in case you want to make one for yourself. So for the last time in this video, thanks for hanging in there. My children keep wanting to talk. Come on.
I don't want to talk. I just want to get in the frame.
Hi, Panda fans.
My son Isaac, my eldest son Isaac. I've got 2 sons. My youngest daughter Vivian. I have 2 daughters. They both helped with Williams and Elijah's. So quit acting that way.
Okay.
I love you, but there's no need to act like a nut. Sometimes you feel like a nut. Sometimes you don't. All right. Thanks again.
Bye, Panda fans.
Thanks for hanging in.
Subscribe and like. Make sure to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button. Make it turn gray like the sky on cloudy days.
You need so much help, Vivian.
They need to be put in a room
And
studied.
I should.